Hi, I'm Jean Ellen, and welcome to the Great Southwest. So I'm standing here in my Mandalorian jacket. If you didn't know it, I am a huge fan of the Mandalorian. This thing rocks. It even has a cape. So, getting stuck in quarantine again, I had to start looking for things to do for fun. And I have decided to switch off from my large diamond art painting that is never going to get completed because it's so huge, to try my hand at a different craft. And I know someone who makes rugs, and she showed me how to do it. And so I decided I would make a Mandalorian themed rug. So here's how it looked through the stages. The first thing I decided I needed to do was come up with 4 images. I decided I would split the canvas into 4 quadrants and have an image per quadrant. So here's the first one I picked. This is the Mudhorn signet that represents the Mandalorian because he defeated it with the help of Grogu. But so here's the first image I picked. The next symbol I picked is probably the most popular symbol associated with the Mandalores, and so I decided that this would be the next symbol. They think it might be an image of a mythosaur, which is a city-sized reptile that dominated the surface of early Mandalore. So no one really knows the basis of this symbol, but it's a Caribbees. I don't know how they say that. Crybees. I don't know what it is. But that is the symbol that you see in association with the Mandalore. So I chose this one. If you had told me a month ago that I would have made a piece of art with Boba Fett on it, I would have told you were nuts, because I was never a fan of Boba Fett. My brother was a big fan. Loved the guy. I never could understand it. It's such a small part in the movies. But after watching season 2, Boba Fett gets on my rug. So decided to use his very iconic helmet for my third of the 4th images. And then, of course, you probably figured out what the last image is going to be. So let's look at it. Yes, of course, leaving the best for last. So here's the Mandalorian's helmet. And I started to realize that I was going to maybe have some issue with the shading on some of these, because this helmet is basically just Beskar. So, one color kind of thing. But anyway, I took a stab at it, and I started sketching it onto a special canvas that is used for making rugs. So here's that canvas stretched out on a frame, a stretching frame, I guess, or whatever it's called. And I went ahead and divided it into the 4 quadrants, and inside each quadrant, I sketched each of those, remembering to flip the image, because the part you see right there is the back. So I had to make sure there was a certain direction I wanted things to go. So started off with a nice basic sketch, and then had to look at my color choices. I started with black yarn and did the front faceplates of both the Mandalorian and Fett. And then I started working on Boba Fett. And you can see how I've stabbed him in the forehead with the tool that you use. And it doesn't look super, like I said. What you're seeing is the back of the canvas. And you can see how there's open areas. It doesn't look, fully covered with color. The rug yarn on the other side of the canvas is actually very fluffy. And being a beginner, mine's really fluffy. So there's no empty spaces showing on the other side of the canvas. So you have a little bit of leniency when you do basically your up and down. I did this all by hand, up and down, just making sure that when you look at the other side, that there's no bald spots kind of thing. In fact, here is the canvas flipped over, and you can see Boba Fett is completed, and just the front part of the Mandalorian is there, but you see how thick and lush it looks compared to the back. So I continued on my way and started working on the other symbols. And made the mistake of weighing down my canvas with a gallon jug of enchilada sauce, which then proceeded to fall off the table and crack open on the floor and get very, very thick enchilada sauce all over my floor. It's now been known as the Great Enchilada Incident of 2020. And yay, here's all four. The helmets are completed, and at least I have a basic outline around the skulls, because without an outline background color, they really look bad. You couldn't see the eye openings and things like that. So by putting in the background color, it accentuated the skulls themselves, and that worked out really well. So the debate now raged between my friend and I as to whether or not to stop here and make them 4 individual little rugs, or to continue with my idea to keep it as one large rug. And so after some thought, I've decided I was going to keep it as one large rug. Keep it like Andy Warhol-ish with 4 different images on one canvas. So I continued on. And here's a close-up of the Mudhorn panel. And you can see how fluffy soft, and it is super soft, how fluffy I make the image. Now, the section between his horn and his head, you notice how that's a different texture. I actually borrowed my friend's rug gun that you can use for very large areas, and it speeds up the process, but it's so tight. You can see how tight that weave was compared to mine. So I decided, no thanks, I don't want to do it anymore. And I could have ripped it all out and redone it by hand, but I left it. I figured it doesn't matter. And it kind of looks cool, gives it some dimension. So there's what the Mudhorn looked like, completely finished. And having 2 squares done now of the mythosaur and the Mudhorn, I noticed it's so fluffy, it's kind of encroaching into the squares of the 2 helmets. But again, I persevered, and I thought that the nice royal blue background looked really nice with that skull. So now I moved on to the backgrounds of the helmets. So here is the finished product. I gotta say, color choices were difficult. Every time I thought I found a good color for like behind Mando's helmet or whatever, it clashed with the color I already used as part of the main images. So like I didn't want to use any other kind of yellow because it would take away from the mythosaur skull. And there was a really pretty like maroon, a shimmery maroon yarn that I had that I was going to put behind the Mudhorn, but it was a little too close to the maroon on Boba Fett's helmet, so I couldn't use that. So, color choices were a little bit difficult. Now, originally this was going to be a rug. I just can't see, and my friend does this all the time. She makes this beautiful art, and then people walk on it. And I just can't do that. So I've decided I'm going to keep this as a wall hanging. So here's a view from the back again. So this is the back of it. And since I've decided I wanted to keep it as a wall hanging, it's going to stay on its frame. So there's the frame there. Here's that material that was used to make it. So what I did was I sealed it all the way around so it can't unravel. And I'll trim this material all the way around so it does not show from the front. And this is going to be upside down, but I'm going to hoof it up. And I'm going to paint the frame that it's in so it looks nice. I don't know, maybe a black. Not sure yet. And then this is actually out in my garage because the adhesive I used to seal these edges really smells. So I'm doing it out in my garage. And we also put the adhesive on the back so it cannot unravel anymore. It's no longer soft on the back. It's actually kind of rough feeling. But the front is still squishy soft. But just to keep it from unraveling at all. All right, so I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and then we'll see what it looks like from the front. Well, there you have it. I haven't decided what color to paint the frame, but he's all set to go now. And so, I think it's a nice addition to my collection, and I think I see a lot more Mandalorian in my future. Thank you very much for watching today. This has been Jean Ellen in the Great Southwest. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't yet already, please subscribe. I appreciate it very much. And now I'm going to show you, this is the card of the person on Etsy who helped me create my rug. So here's her card. And again, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Thanks to Sawft Art for their guidance in this. And I look forward to making many more rugs in my future. But visit them at Etsy and see what they have for sale.